It's 2014, March 30th, and what you're looking at belongs to a tree called the orchid tree, the purple orchid tree, mountain ebony, or poor man's orchid. Kind of reminds me of the catalpa tree, which I have a video of from the Palomar Mountains in San Diego. This is near Carlsbad, La Costa, California, and the species name in scientific terms is Bauhinia variegata. The species name variegata suggests a variation in phenotypes, and that's pretty much what I've been seeing, as you'll see later on in this video. The flower colors differ, and the leaves are like this, sort of like a cow's hoof, according to some people, or a heart-shaped base. They're 4 to 6 inches across. That's up to 15 centimeters in diameter, and they're very rounded with lobed ends. So they're briefly deciduous. So all along this main street in this very beautiful neighborhood, on a sunny day, you can see different phenotypes expressed, and that's likely due to the presence of different cultivars. Cultivars are groups of individuals within a species that carry certain traits, and for many crops that we've selectively bred over the last 10,000 years, you can read about all kinds of cultivars for things like grapevines or honeydew vines, even though they're the same species. The orchid tree grows up to 13 meters tall, 6 meters wide, and has a spreading crown. The flowers are reminiscent of showy orchids. There's 5 irregular, slightly overlapping petals, usually in shades of magenta, lavender, or purplish blue. I didn't see any of the purplish blue here, but that would be an amazing color to behold. And the flowers often make their first appearance in late winter when the tree is bare of leaves. The blooming period lasts until early summer. I wasn't aware of that. I thought this was another species at first. Somehow I was under the impression that these trees would shed their blooms very quickly and that the flowering season was wrapping up, but I'm reading that this will go on into the early summer. So that's a long time, and that's a similarity to the crepe myrtle, which I really enjoy watching the blooms of in other neighborhoods. This one is dominated by the orchid tree, or the camel's foot tree. Supposedly there's a candida cultivar that has snow white flowers with greenish veins, so that would be very interesting to see. The orchid tree originates from northern India, Vietnam, and southeastern China. It does well in acidic soil. It's not tolerant of salty soil. It likes full sun, as you can see. It can tolerate very light shade, but not much. Watering should be abundant during the summer when it's hot, and less so during the winter, if at all. So the orchid tree might drop its leaves during the winter drought, but that's not necessarily something to be worried about. So the orchid tree is a subtropical plant that usually recovers from brief freezes after dropping its leaves. It gets tree-sized in the tropics or any place like this in Southern California where the weather is very mild and temperate, but it stays shrubby in cold climates where frost and freezes strike very often. Because it does so well in the tropics or subtropics, it's considered an invasive species in Florida. The orchid trees lining this main street in La Costa, California really caught my eye last week, so I came back a week later to get some video footage. It's not quite as beautiful and impressive as crepe myrtle in full bloom, but it's very beautiful in its own right. And it does have crepe myrtle beat in that it has better foliage, or better looking foliage in my opinion, although it might not be as suitable for the dryness of the Southern California climate.